What if Napoleon's Waterloo defeat was sealed years earlier, in a quiet Paris room? In 1805, that quiet room held a choice that would echo through centuries. Invade England or turn east toward Austria and Russia. His generals urged caution. The English Channel was treacherous, but Napoleon's ambition burned brighter than their warnings. He chose to march east. That single decision set a chain of events that would reshape Europe forever. At Austerlitz, Napoleon crushed the combined armies of Austria and Russia. It was his greatest victory, but victory came at a cost. The peace treaties he imposed humiliated his enemies, planting seeds of revenge. Meanwhile, England remained unconquered. The Royal Navy tightened its blockade, strangling French trade. Napoleon responded with the Continental System, forbidding European ports from trading with Britain. This economic war hurt both sides, but it also pushed Russia to defy Napoleon, leading to the disastrous invasion of 1812. The retreat from Moscow destroyed the Grand Army. Nearly 500,000 men perished in the snow. This catastrophe emboldened his enemies. Prussia, Austria, and Russia formed a new coalition against France. By 1813, Napoleon was outnumbered. At Leipzig, the Battle of Nations, he suffered a decisive defeat. He was exiled to Elba, but he escaped, returning to France for one last gamble. The 100 Days, Waterloo was the final act, but the divergence had happened long before. Napoleon's choice in 1805 sealed his fate. Napoleon's victory at Waterloo was not a battle. It was a detonation that shattered every military doctrine of the age. Within hours, the Prussian army, expecting a French collapse, found itself outflanked and annihilated. London received the news not as a defeat, but as an existential shock. The unthinkable had happened. The Duke of Wellington, once the unshakable Iron Duke, now faced a choice: surrender or flee into exile. He chose exile, but his departure left a power vacuum that no single nation could fill. This is just the beginning. Subscribe to see more amazing content. Fire. Austria and Russia, once united against France, now saw each other as threats. Old alliances crumbled overnight. Napoleon did not rest. He marched his rejuvenated army toward the Rhine, aiming to break the coalition's spine. But victory brought a hidden cost. His officers, drunk on glory, began to question his absolute command. Meanwhile, in the French countryside, peasants heard rumors of a new draft. Fear replaced celebration. The British Navy, undefeated, blockaded French ports. Trade withered. Bread prices soared in Paris. Napoleon knew that time was not his ally. He needed a decisive peace. Not just battles. He proposed a grand congress in Vienna, but under French terms, the other powers refused. Instead, they formed a secret pact. The war would continue until Napoleon was removed. By any means, assassins were dispatched. Poison, dagger, and bullet became instruments of policy. A new kind of war began. The immediate chaos was not just on battlefields. It was in the minds of every ruler, general, and citizen. Napoleon's victory at Waterloo did not just redraw borders. It rewrote the very code of human progress. Without the Congress of Vienna, the balance of power concept never took root. Europe remained a patchwork of competing empires. Nationalism, that explosive force of the 19th century, was delayed. Without French occupation, Germany and Italy stayed fragmented. Industrialization took a different path. Without the British blockade, French science advanced faster, but coal remained scarce. The first railways connected Paris to Moscow, not London to Liverpool. Trade routes shifted east, enriching the Russian heartland. Colonial empires crumbled faster. Without a unified Europe, the scramble for Africa never happened. Indigenous kingdoms survived longer. The American Civil War ended differently. Without cotton from a French-controlled Egypt, the South collapsed within months. Reconstruction in America was swift, but bitter. The industrial North dominated. and the South remained an economic backwater for decades. Without the Franco-Prussian War, the unification of Germany never occurred. Central Europe remained a mosaic of small states. World War I, as we know it, never happened. Without a unified Germany, the alliance system that triggered the war was absent. The 20th century was not defined by world wars, but by a cold struggle between a French-led Europe and a rising America. Technology advanced differently. Without the urgency of war, the jet engine and atomic bomb were delayed by decades. The alternate world is not a fantasy. It is a blueprint, a structure built on the ruins of old Europe. Napoleon did not just win battles. He rewrote the rules of power. He became the architect of a new order. His continental system was not a blockade. It was the foundation of a unified European economy. A single market. Nations became provinces. Borders dissolved. The old monarchies crumbled under the weight of a new vision. This empire was not built on conquest alone. It was built on a code, a legal framework that outlasted its creator. The Napoleonic Code spread across the continent, planted seeds of equality. It uprooted feudal privilege. In this world, the Industrial Revolution accelerated. Without war, resources flowed freely. Innovation thrived. Paris became the undisputed capital of the world. Art, science, and philosophy flourished under imperial patronage. But every order has a hidden cost. The price of unity was the loss of identity. Cultures began to fade. Resistance movements grew in the shadows. Nationalism, once a spark, became a wildfire. The empire could not contain it. The New World Order was a paradox. Promised progress but demanded submission. Created unity but crushed diversity. Napoleon's destiny was not to be a conqueror. It was to be a catalyst. He forced humanity to choose its path. The ultimate lesson is this: history is not a river. It is a game, and every move echoes through eternity. Hi there. If you enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to subscribe. Smiling face with smiling eyes next episode. A plot twist you won't expect. Subscribe now. Face screaming in fear.